Hey guys, sup, we have quite the late stream today, but better late than never is what they say. So, how we doing? Um, there was a teaser that was dropped today that I haven't actually watched. Um, I saw like the first 30 seconds and before I decided I'll just wait for stream. So, but like, nothing there. And Arcane in the back, I assume he's playing TLI. Today we're going to be doing TLI stuff and also watching interviews that we haven't seen yet. It'll be a shorter stream just because of how late I started, but we'll try to make the most of it. What else? In terms of my character, I am now fully, like completely T0. So there isn't a single non-T0 mod I have. And everything is T0. I haven't finally crafted an advanced sequence on my main hand. Now I just need to fucking do the same thing for my offhand. That's just pain. So much money goes into it. Anyways, that's besides the point. Yeah, but every rare is full T0s, not a single non T0 mod. Even the ones that I was like, there's really no need to T0. I have T0 now. Next step is getting this guy here, the second advanced sequence. Once I have the second advanced sequence, kind of drawing blanks. Honestly, actually, no, I'm not. The next thing would be if I can cap my res without this implicit, then if I can cap my res without the implicit, then we're chilling, because that would just mean that we can go this corroded, which should be a damage increase. Aside that, getting this double corroded would be nice, and then getting this corroded once would be nice. But the problem is, I don't know how I feel about that less cast speed multiplier going. I like the less cast speed. I know it sounds unintuitive, but I like it because it helps me keep nourishment alive. Really like that. But at the same time, it's fine, I think. Because if I get rid of this, that is a very, very notable cast speed increase, and I'm not the biggest fan of it. Like currently I'm at minus 25 because they are at like 500 growth, 545. So that is minus 16% from here. But if I take this to +1, that means what I'm getting from my helmet goes from minus 16 to plus +5, which is an increase of like an insane amount of cast speed, because now it's insane, and I don't want that. As counterintuitive as that sound, I don't want that. But what I do want is the +17 to go to like +23. That is what I actually want. But like, I don't want the cast speed. It's more DPS. Don't get me wrong; it's a huge DPS increase. But like, I like having nourishment uptime. Like if I go hit this, my nourishment uptime, you would see it's very, very good at this point. They don't actually run out anymore, which is insane. And it's mostly because I've cut down some of my cast speed, and I've buffed my cooldown to the best of my abilities. So that is the main reason. So like now none of them actually get to 0, which is really, really nice. So like I'm really hesitant to replace that helmet with a corroded version that will take away the less cast speed. Very, very hesitant on that, because we really want each cast to have the nourishment, simply because each repeat would then also use the same multipliers that we casted with and stuff like that. And if they cast faster, then they're more likely to run out. But we're also hitting faster, so like, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, basically. Anyways, so first things first, we have this guy, the PoE to reveal or teaser for the day, and then we have legendary drops interview, and then I'll just be, well, I want to do some SS21 attempts. I want to do some SS21 attempts, but I also want to farm, because I haven't actually farmed a lot this weekend. I've done okay amounts of farm, but nothing crazy. Oh yeah, while I'm even here, let me do this. Hit track. Let me make sure it's actually working. No, it's not. Return. I have to track ignore my sound lord now, can I? I need to see how much I make. And then on this, on the Sandlord front, I now have 3 full gliders of level 8. These fuckers are the last ones left. I those last 3 I still haven't gotten. So I'll have to probably buy another like 50 maps or another decent amount of deep space maps just to make sure I get them. I also have a fair share of shippers, or yeah, shippers that are full level 8, but like I can maybe do 3 ships worth, but I only sent you 1 anyways, so like, you know, probably not the smartest thing to do, but what I do just to make sure my best team is always working on another. But yeah, the fact that we have 3 full gliders of 8 means we don't actually need to worry about sun scorch or negative quant. So that should just on average increase our income from gliders, which is why these gliders actually just skipped the cooldown with coins, because A, I had like 600k and like which was like 45 days, and B, we get to the level 7 and we're just greeted with minus 50% quants instantly. The very first window.
I'm hoping to be able to get to deep space and attempt that soon. Just need to realize I don't actually know how to build for those immunities, to be honest, because it feels
Deep
like my
space,
slates are really
I
tight.
just gave up 1 mod, which was cooldown.
What do you give it? What are you good at? What are you getting on this slate?
I
Immune to
have
what?
I have 3 different immunes: immune to wilt, immune to trauma, immune to ignite, and then the second mod on the one I removed. So the one I removed is damage transfer as well as cooldown, which are both divinity ones. So instead of that, I just have immune replace the cooldown mod. So I have
Oh, you removed 1 immune on each slate, 1 mod on each slate to fit it.
It's only 1 slate I removed. 1. I remove it. If I need a different immunity, I'll unequip it and I'll equip the new thing and I'll run it for 4 maps. So all my slates are still the same. I just have 1 slate I remove and put back depending on what immunity I need. Make sense?
Yeah, it does.
It's,
I guess I can try.
It's gimmicky and whatnot, but like I'd rather do that than sacrifice power on my journey to SS21. Once I beat SS21, then I'll start going for like immune to wilts on ring
What
base
about shit like
affix.
Scorch and shit? You have 1 for
Scorch is
Scorch
ignites. Rot is wilt. The phase 1 meme is trauma. Immune to those.
Those are all dots.
Yeah. If you get immune to the ailments I mentioned, you're immune to those guys. If you get immune to ignite, you're immune to scorch. You get immune to rot, you're immune to wilt.
I get you.
etc. Actually, I said that backwards. You get immune to wilt, you're immune to rot. They're the same ailment essentially.
Damn, it's kind of late. Hope I can find something with this.
I just searched like I just removed a corner or a falling starlight, so I can either use a falling starlight or a corner because I'm not capped on them. And for most of them, corners were cheaper, but for one of them, you only had falling starlight options. All right, let's see what these new unique items do.
Hi, I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile. Today,
No, let's do 1080,
We'd like
please.
to showcase 2 more unique items. First up, we have the Auspex, an attire to
Can I say this actually just looks cool?
drive your foes mad
Even the little pouch at the back.
with. And then a remake
Functional
of
and
a Path of
stylish.
Exile 1 classic, Facebreaker, which provides a
I love that they made face breakers look like actual like boxing gloves but covered in
Shit is
fur.
insane.
variety of ways to bring the ultimate beatdown on your enemies.
Imagine punching someone with this. Like, look at the sharp bones that are just at the tip of the knuckles and whatnot.
Break their face, I think. Don't quote me though.
These bones look like they're there for more than just breaking. Like, it looks
Because
like it's gonna get you in the eye. Like, oops, -1 eye. You're going to say?
I'm just gonna run a deep space map just to test it out, I guess. See what it feels like.
Aye.
This one's a scorch map, and I have it.
Yeah.
These are
Paralyze
both
me.
coming in Return of the
You don't need paralyze them, man. Like those other mods that don't outrightly kill me, I just tank them. And if you run with enough combinations of them, you will probably die. But like then you just
I feel like I'm
reroll.
doing clockwork in deep space.
Lol.
Shouldn't matter though.
Are you damage cap?
Oh, no. No.
Man, just stop checking DPS after SS20.
No, I checked it after SS20 a couple times. It's just kind of hard. I'm not doing any big changes yet, so I don't want to check yet.
Okay.
Ancients. In
At 15K
ancient times,
FE,
a lost child
I
was
will work my way up to.
You said what now?
Oh sure. I'm at 15K FE. I'll work my way up.
What are you trying to buy?
I don't even know. I just have the money. I'll be here when I know though.
All right, let's watch this video.
of the ancients. In ancient times, a lost child was taken in by an Asmeri village. The Auspex of the village declared him an ill omen.
What the
as
fuck is
their
an
crops
Auspex?
soured and their days darkened. Thereafter, ravens gathered and mists descended, following him, driving him deeper and deeper into madness. Harness that madness and become the Auspex yourself. Summon a singular mist raven, a minion that will wrap.
I like how the showcase they use a character that kind of looks like the Auspex, but by looking like the Auspex, it kind of looks like a Templar in PoE 1.
Auspex yourself. Summon a
Like it almost looks like he has a bald head, but I feel like this is a helmet.
singular mist raven, a minion that will ravage your foes and kill enemies.
Yeah, I think we saw this pro in the reveal trailer. Not reveal trailer. In the reveal stream, the initial teaser they play at the start of the stream, we saw a brief clip of this that had like a singular raven that wasn't RF. We knew it wasn't RF because we saw the glass shatter and the raven do whatever. So we've seen this before, but now we're seeing what the skill does, Miss Raven, which the raven grants you a frenzy charge each time it calls an enemy, and it has calling strike, and its threshold is equal to yours, or it uses yours effectively. So this might be good on Witch Hunter or something.
The Mist Raven has a unique command skill, which causes it to dive at your targets, shattering reality and creating an explosion of madness. Enemies killed by the Mist Raven
Calling
will
strike
also
threshold
grant you
is still
frenzy
very
charges.
buildable without Witch Hunter.
What'd you say?
Calling strike threshold is still very buildable without Witch Hunter. There's enough nodes on the tree for it.
Yeah, but doesn't Witch Hunter have reverse call, or it does not use calling strike verbiage?
That's technically something else.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you don't have to
Witch
be Witch
Hunter also
Hunter,
has
but
call shit as well. Like it has call stuff. I was just saying in general. Like other people could actually use this. Realistic.
I mean, yeah, but it's if you just need a collar, which is a waste of a chess piece, right? We need to see the stats on the chess piece, which we haven't so
But then
far.
we also
Giving
just
the
get these
Raven
new
extra-
gloves and increase the color range of enemies and shit.
I think
Where
so.
you're gonna, eventually, if you keep ramping, you're actually gonna be calling white monsters instantly.
Yes, but don't forget it's a command skill. So by virtue of being a command skill, it has a cooldown and it has a cast
I might even
time.
say the
Or
cooldown
yeah.
on it.
Does it? No, it doesn't. Well, it does 12 seconds baseline.
Yeah.
Yeah, and keep in mind this is a minion that does nothing unless you're commanding it. From what I can see, it doesn't attack passively. It's only when you command it, so it's literally doing nothing until you command it.
And creating an explosion of madness.
I was curious if people could use Frenzy Charge Gen, because that's really hard to do in this game.
It could be.
But I don't think it's that good.
It could be a miniona's version of Frenzy Charge Gen because we have no other sources, but it's us.
Yeah, Profane Ritual and
that's power.
I was gonna say in Combat Frenzy, but that's too far from a lot of minion builds.
What does Combat Frenzy do?
Power into which gives you a different charge instead of the one you were supposed to get.
Oh. Yeah, I guess that combo would work, but like that's a lot for just like.
That's actually what a good amount of characters do still in this game, like ritualists and shit. They will still do that.
We have no sources. We have no reason to want frenzy charges as well. So far, from all the items we have, there is no reason you would want frenzy charges. Power charges, yeah, zombies could want it, and some other things you could cope on, but frenzy, we have no reason to have it. And this is a chess piece. That is a very big trade-off.
Slots, yeah.
And don't forget, chess piece is the slot that can give you 60 spirits. That is your single biggest slot for spirit. As a minion build, bigger than amulet even.
I got the vibe this unique is just made for it has that minion-y interaction without someone needing to actually be a minion for it.
Yeah, I think it's just a frenzy charge gen. I think it's just a frenzy charge generator, but giving up your chest piece for frenzy charges seems very rough for most builds, at least. Like, because it's your single biggest defense slot, so like it's just not it's just not something that I think is a good trade-off, unless like the other stats on the chest piece are stacked. Like if it gives you giga defenses as well, then sure. You know, if it gives you something else that's actually insane aside this, sure. Which, to be fair, many, like if you look at these, if they were to just show you the companion that like the wolf from the scepter, you think, you know, scepter ass, whatever. Cool. But like the fact that that wolf is a part of the scepter, and the scepter is the bigger reason you would use it, right? The wolf is nice, but the scepter is a bigger reason you'd use the scepter. So if you were to just show us the minion, we'd have the same reaction, like, oh, the scepter is a big slot, yada yada yada. And honestly, scepter is a very contested spot. So, but I see the build where I would use it. I don't think regular build to use it though. Like I don't think any other, you know,
also like 12 seconds for a frenzy charge. Might as well just run that support spirit gem that gives spirit gem that literally gives you one every 8 seconds. So it's literally just better.
And you need to have minion CDR to reduce that CD. And you need to have trash mobs to kill. Because it's calling.
Like.
And it needs to do enough damage to kill. And if it's not doing that.
It's like it's a really cool fantasy one. These are the ones I struggle with in this game because it's like, I guess I could use this on white maps.
If even.
At what point is someone actually like. I'm not gonna speak for anyone else. Our point is like, am I gonna click that and be like, holy fuck, this feels awesome? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you click that, you click vendor, and you take your H-head shard, and you say that feels so awesome.
When you valid and it disappears, like holy shit, that was. Oh, I high rolled.
Oh. I feel like the chest will give you some calling threshold though, so like at least there's maybe that.
I think so too.
Killed by the Mist Raven will also grant you frenzy charges, giving the Raven extra utility. The Mist Raven also causes enemies in your presence to gain grueling madness.
This is the second unique we're seeing with or the second skill we're seeing with Grueling Madness. The first one also had to do with was
Fear.
Ravens.
Grueling Fear.
Was that Grueling Fear?
That one was a fear thing, yeah.
The one with Raven Flock?
Culling one, right?
That's no, Raven Flock. This is I feel like this is the same one that's on RF. They're both Grueling Madness. Let me see. Path of Exile.com / what's the league name? Ancient. I'll just go Path of Exile.com. Path of Exile2.com. Ancients. Yeah, Ancients. I would have been correct if I said Ancients. But anyways, is the unique not here? Do I have to open the video? Please no.
It's there, so just keep scrolling.
Oh, they should. Oh no, this is an amulet. I thought it was the rune. I was like, they showed the unique and the rune it produced, but no, it's just an amulet they showed. But there it is, Raven Flock. Yeah, it's Grueling Madness. It's the same thing. So it's the same debuff. The what? The gloves? Horror's Flight. Crushing Fear. Gain 1 fear incarnate when you call. I was
thinking about. Okay.
Yeah, it gives you a fear incarnate when you call. And I think this is the one that gives you your calling threshold, right?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So Raven Flock gives Grueling Madness, which is it basically slows and then increases slowing potency of debuffs on the target. So that makes the slow and Grueling Madness even bigger. And if you have other sources of slow, then it would make it even bigger. So it's good because eventually, like you'd be giga slow, especially when paired with temp chains. That'd be a really strong combo. So I assume RF gamers would probably want to use temp chains Blasphemy or giga defenses, I guess. But that's about it.
Did you actually make money in your deep space farming, by the way?
Yeah, I made money. Not an insane amount.
Compared to the cost of deep space, did you profit?
Yeah.
What were you doing apart from the Sandlord?
Just Sandlord and Clockwork. And most of my profitable maps would come from either Clockwork giving me compasses or Sandlord giving me FE or some mob exploding into like 6 sacred fossils, or there are a decent amount of unprofitable maps, but the profitable maps outweigh them. Plus I was also just doing Sandlord on the side because it is a Sandlord strat. So
you recommend it
for farming your?
Because I'm doing this strat but with Sandlord compass on it. My thought process.
You can do the same strat in deep space and you're fine.
All right.
You just want to have Sandlord in it, and honestly, like if you really want to maximize your chance of workers, you want to have points in the Sandlord tree, which is why I didn't do that. Because I think the most important thing for the Sandlord, I would have for workers, I imagine, is just having more waves. And there's a side of that tree that gives you a chance or a higher chance of getting more waves.
Oh, so you're saying don't do it without the tree?
Like, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying if you want to reduce the number of maps it takes you to fill out, then you probably want to take some points on the Sandlord tree.
Oh shit, okay.
A slowing debuff that empowers your other slows to be even more potent. Finally, the
Wait, why is this passively increasing? The Grueling Madness stacks
also causes enemies in your presence to gain Grueling Madness.
Okay, I see an AoE around in which I assume is
slowing debuff that empowers your other slows to be even more potent. Finally,
wait, maybe it's just attacking. Is he attacking?
Debuff that empowers your other slows
no, it's not. It's this circle. But this isn't RF, so why does this circle exist?
More potent. Finally, the Auspex also makes your deflect chance lucky while you're on low life.
Holy, lucky deflect chance at low life. Why is that good? You're not, unless you're reserving life, which only Infernalists can at the moment, you're not on low life. So you would have to have taken damage to do that. But doesn't taking damage doesn't that like make deflection worse? Or am I forgetting how it works?
I think they actually just want someone to be at low life. That's just the truth. But I don't know. We don't know what other ways we'll get access to it this league. So
let me see deflects. Deflection provides a chance to deflect from hits, preventing 40% of the damage from those hits. Exact chance to deflect also. So like it means you'd have to already taken damage from a hit before. Now you have 40% DR. You have a higher chance of 40% DR on said hits. That's ass. That's ass.
My assumption was it was someone that was perma low life. That was my assumption.
How'd you get to perma low life?
I was thinking,
it's only Lich or Infernalist
to that this league.
Maybe they give more sources, but currently it's only Lich and Infernalist that can do it.
Because both of those two people aren't going to be going invasions.
So. Exactly. So it's like what is the goal? But let's see. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt and say maybe there's other things.
You know them, they throw this kind of mods on an item and it's just like, you'll see. Rubs hands menacingly.
As nothing happens for like 5 seasons.
But then that one season, Deflect is getting nerfed the season after.
Yeah. You finally found the broken interaction that you've been waiting for with this unique. And then you just slap it in the next season. Icarus always flies too close to the sun the moment he gets power. Every fucking time.
It seems the Mist Raven does a good job of instilling fear in your enemies.
I don't like that they didn't show the item though. I think they should have showed the item.
Next up we have Facebreaker. The Ezamites and Eternal Empire have a bloody history. Some enjoyed the thrill of battle.
Wait, so they showed Facebreaker but they didn't show the other one?
They showed both items.
I didn't see the other item. They showed Grueling Madness and they showed the skill. Oh, there it is. It's us. Okay.
What are you? I don't know what you're looking for.
It was so insignificant I didn't even notice it from the first time because I read this stat and my brain just discarded it like
I kept looking at you like you saw the item. You know? I don't know what you're searching for. Like there's a holy grail mod there that'll make that shit be insane. All damage with hits is lucky while on
Jesus Christ, dude. 100% increased attribute requirement. This shit requires 242 dexterity.
Shit's dying and it's dying when I see it on the floor. That's just the truth.
242 dexterity is crazy work. I guess they want it for dex builds. It's not a minion build. It's not a minion build item. I mean, but the worst part is like
242 dex is crazy. You need to volatile all that just to wear it.
242 dex is crazy work. What the?
Does this minion scale per dex?
No. Not from what we've seen. Okay, there's nothing on the. You have no reason to dex stack on it. It doesn't gain. It doesn't gain your damage. So like, what build wants it? Because you're not scaling minion damage on this, unless you just want to use it as a call. But it takes so long from cast time to when it actually hits and calls. It's way too slow. Unless you want to give it like cast speed or something, so that it does it faster, or. And reduce the cooldown so you can use it more frequently. Like, why would you use it? You would have to be a dex build that's scaling minions. Which... What? It doesn't give you minion scaling. It doesn't give your minions your scaling. So, like, the self-cast builds that might have wanted frenzy charges for whatever reason, they don't have a reason for it anymore. Maybe there's a reason Spirit Walker would want frenzy charges and this is our, they're telling us this is our source. Maybe let's cope. because you know Spirit Walker is already a Dex character. You know, companions are Dex. We're already going to be building dexterity. Well, I don't know about 200 dexterity, but we're going to be building dexterity. Let's see how it works. Oh, this is going to be so fucking ass.
Unique command.
But anyways, back to Face Breakers.
Your targets. Empire have a bloody history. Some enjoyed the thrill of battle.
All right, has 8 to 12 physical damage, and then +3 to +4 per boss's face broken. So this is now, is this an ailment? Just your face is broken? Increased stun build up, 1% more unarmed damage per 5 strength. 1%
has insane potential, by the way.
I mean, more unarmed damage per 5 strength is already kind of insane. And I know we're talking about how unarmed was really strong at the start of last league. I didn't keep up with it, but I remember unarmed was supposed to be very strong from early theory crafting. Yeah, exactly. And now with the monk, I don't think he needs a weapon, right, to use his clones. So they can just bonk you with strength stacking. Then +3 to melee strike range, +1 armor per strength. So you're just giga stacking strength. Can attack as though using a one-handed mace while both. Can you imagine the fucking implication of that? You're using your hands, but like your hands count as a one-handed mace. That is fucking hilarious. Unarmed attacks that would use an equipped one-handed mace's damage use this item's damage. Holy. And wait, I just realized something. It's a glove and it has flat face. Implicit.
Yeah, let them finish the video.
Oh shit. It actually, like, items that typically grant you stats from stacking don't have this typically. They have, like, they're giving global stats, but this is a local stat. So that means if you're using one-handed mace attacks or whatever, it's going to use this. So if you could have like sources of increased damage on this unique, are there sources like that? Well, I guess there are, because from runes.
The first mod, the first mod.
Yeah, it has physical damage and then per boss's face broken. Yes, unless you're giga like breaking boss's faces in the map, it shouldn't be. Unless I mean, it can't be a permanent stacker.
Is perma? That would be insane, right?
That can't be intentional.
It's the feature of ERPGs.
That can't be a thing, because then you'd infinitely scale.
Click play and we'll find out, I guess.
A little more than others.
Okay.
Follow in the footsteps of the Red Wolf with his legendary gloves. While equipped and your hands are empty, you can use all mace skills with just your fists.
Weak.
This is the ultimate SmackDown unique.
Because it can't give you unlimited damage, so unless it's like in the maps.
You too can collect teeth of enemies you've pulverized.
Okay.
As you break their faces, you can track the bosses you've smashed on your map, with each granting you added physical damage.
Okay.
Facebreaker provides offensive and defensive benefits for stacking up strength, so you can become.
Yeah, so that makes sense. I actually really like. Cause like the thing where I was like it can be infinite is it's not infinite. It's per unique boss's face that has been broken, but that's actually so fucking cool. But it's a weird item. It's a weird. I mean, you can stack it on what's it called on campaign bosses in the end game, but besides the point.
Yeah, but they have to like actually show up. Like there's a marker that they have to show up with.
What do you mean? Let me finish the video again.
Become a true face-breaking powerhouse. I mean, just check this out. Hammer of the Gods? How about Fist of the Gods?
Holy, that was so cool that I actually use the new skill. But it doesn't have to have an icon from what I can see. It's just it's per boss's face broken, and it's campaign bosses. But don't forget, they always wanted it to be that you can get campaign boss objectives by killing them in the end game. So if you kill the bosses in the end game, it will still stack. It's just you can't kill it in the end game and then kill it in the campaign as 2 different bosses. It's still the same boss. It's just instead of going,
it's capped. I'm pretty sure though.
It's not capped. It's per unique boss's face broken, and there are only so many unique bosses. So like you can kill Crowbell as many times as you want. He's only counting once, but he gives you a permanent addition to this.
There's only a amount of bosses you can kill for it.
Yeah, which is why I was like, it can't scale infinitely, which it isn't, but it will scale pretty well, especially since they're adding 16 bosses. But I don't know if it's
Faces.
Ones, right? You smaller ones.
It just says each boss encounter on the world screen. Okay, so yeah, it's not even counting. It's not even counting Expedition then, because they are not on the world screen.
That's what I'm saying. Like, those are on the world screen could literally just be the bosses that we have to kill for other things, like the ones you see that you've completed them enough for a passive point and shit like that.
They are on the world screen, but
I don't know if it's the end game.
It's the same bosses. They've said it in interviews. They count. It's just if you kill them, if you have objectives that require killing them, or what they wanted initially was that you could use the campaign instead of having to do it every season or whatever. I forget how they put it initially, but basically you should be able to get it with the. I'm seeing this, and I think they would go with the route they wanted, which is you can use endgame bosses to do it, but you can't control the maps you're getting and all these things. So if you want to just make sure you have all the available flat damage, you would intentionally go to your campaign zones and manually go through. And even then, I don't think every single boss that's on the world screen is currently in the end game. Maybe they do something and they add everything, but I don't think every single one is in the, because like they have a bunch of like side bosses in like some areas that, I mean, they have the world icon, but they are not, honestly they're not in the end game, but like I don't think killing the end game would count as killing like 5 different world bosses, because they are, I believe there are multiple scorpions, as an example from the Sekima scorpion boss. There are multiple of certain ones.
When martial artist puts it on, surely it doesn't change the deck stack here, right? It works with Hollow Bomb, by the way.
Yeah, because it's not a, wait, so you doesn't Hollow Palm require you to not wear gloves?
No, Hollow Palm lets you wear gloves. That's Superior 1.
Okay.
Hollow Palm actually says grants beads damage to skills that would otherwise use a quarterstaff for skills. It's in PoE 2, Chads. Your boy Viper spoke about it.
Okay. You can use Facebreaker and Hollow Palm together. Facebreaker grants base damage to skills that would have otherwise used a mace or quarterstaff. So yeah, so Facebreaker counts as being a mace, but also counts as being unequipped or unarmed. So Hollow Palm gives it the base damage, and then
gives it the base damage. You can't, yeah.
Yeah,
it's really interesting.
I mean, it seems like the no-brainer synergy. The moment you see it, you're thinking Hollow Palm. I think when PO1 you use Facebreakers typically with Hollow Palm, unless you're going some weird shit like Mercenary League where they still went Hollow Palm with it, right? Like you'd go Hollow Palm, then have your Merc use Facebreakers and Rallying Cry or something like that. I forget exactly how it worked. Or a big weapon, or yeah, they'd use a big weapon with Rallying Cry, and then you would use Facebreakers.
In PoE 1, you could use Facebreaker and a shield. Is the one thing that's different about PoE 1 and PoE 2.
Okay, but wait, but I remember there was a time I was twinking Hollow Palm and I had to remove my gloves.
That's Hollow Palm. I said Facebreakers.
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
Hollow Palm PoE 1, you can't use gloves and weapons.
Yeah, okay. Makes sense.
You can track the bosses you've smashed on your map, with each granting you added physical damage.
So that means if you're going on Facebreaker, you have to make sure everything is an X. all these side bosses that didn't give you anything that you would have skipped otherwise. Yeah, Magi. Go kill him. But it also means from the sound of it, it's you don't have to have the item equipped to get the progression. You say you collect teeth. So long as you have the boss killed, once you get Facebreaker, you should have the bonus, is my understanding.
Yeah.
Which makes the quest item, it's a quest item, but it makes the quest a lot more forgiving and a lot, because like it would suck if you get it and all you have is 8 to 12 phase. But by the time you get it, realistically, you have hundreds, which then makes it almost instantly usable, depending on, you know, where in the campaign you are or end game or whatever. It's just now you have a reason to go back and kill even more, which is nice.
That is nice.
I mean, just check this out. Hammer of the Gods? How about Fist of the Gods?
I really like the custom animations they do for shit like this. Like the fact that the fist dropped, I love it. Like it's the same thing with Black Flame turning all fire you would shoot to actually be, you know, purple. I love things like that a lot.
Same.
It's the big difference between like PoE 2 and other RPGs, I think, when the changes you make on your character, like Facebreaker on the equipment and, you know, Black Flame on your passive tree, you actually see visually the effect of making that choice and going that route. It does make me think, will there be a point where they intentionally don't create certain skills because there's already an effect? Like if you have Black Flame, but then that means they would avoid using like Fire Convert to something else in case you have Black Flame and that. But then it's GG we're talking about, so you never know.
I think they just send it.
Yeah. Very, very possible. But yeah, W teaser. Then we have legendary drops. This interview, I need to watch it.
Have you ever wondered what somebody with actual prestige...
All right. My sound is low enough. Cool. I think we just start farming and going through the interview, and then let me see real quick. I forgot to check this scene, so let's see. Yeah, as usual. Where is my other? Bro, where's Opera? There. Yeah.
It's AFK for a bit, but I should let you know that Drake reaction clip fucking kills me.
What reaction? Oh.
The tweet one.
Lol. I mean, that is the entirety I've heard from that, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what he was thinking, but we'll see what the general consensus is. Do that chest sounding like Dr. Seuss, but what do I know?
One of those bars. The way the guy just literally stood and died and he said this thing sucks.
Actually, let me do one attempt at what do you call it? SS21, and then we watch the interview. One attempt. Here's a fun little thing I think I have basically learned. With enough practice, you can reliably get him to just ignore you on like Magi. Nope, he's not ignoring me. He's doing anything but ignoring me. Okay, so we basically have to play the fight. My damage is actually now very solid. Bro. That is unfair. There. Now he is not targeting me. And I'd say every like I get him to target my minion like every 2 out of every 3 fights, or 3 out of every 4, something like that. It's decently reliable.
With your blood, I shall reforge my edge.
I'm going to switch this to radical order, so it's easier for them to keep aggro. Woo! All right, we tried. Legendary drop time. All right. Before we do anything, let's just make sure Torchlight is open. Or let's reopen it. Of course, you can't steal Forge. I closed it specifically to do the fight. It didn't matter. I think it's just because the log file was already written into it. But anyways, time to watch the video. Sup, Hollow Edge? How you doing?
In the games industry has to say about what's been going on over the past couple of years, well, you get to find that out today, because I got the opportunity to sit down and talk to Jonathan Rogers, the technical director for Path of Exile 1 and Path of Exile 2, as well as one of the co-founders for Grinding Gear Games. And this is a conversation talking about their upcoming 0.5 release for Path of Exile 2, but it's much more of a casual conversation. See, I'm not sponsored or anything like that, so I got to ask anything that I wanted to, and that ranges anywhere from stop killing games to a bunch of failed live service games we've seen over the past couple of years to a great.
Oh, you talk about stop killing games.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed this conversation. I know that I definitely did. I gotta thank you guys, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't get really cool opportunities to do things like this. Hopefully this ends up leading to more of those opportunities down the road, though I can't imagine a lot of people wanting to talk to me. That's too bad. Anyway, enjoy the interview. I don't know how much you remember the last time that I had interviewed you. Normally, I'm a pretty laid-back guy. Like, I'm going to ask some questions about the expansion. Honestly, I just like to pick your brain when it comes to just like your philosophy behind what you guys are doing in live service and video game development and the industry as a whole and stuff like that. So it's a little bit more of a kind of casual conversation to just kind of pick your brain on some random stuff. But we can go ahead and start. So you said this is going to be the biggest expansion that you guys have done so far, the biggest update that you guys have done for a game so far. How much work went into this?
Well, we actually originally wanted to release a bunch of this content in 0.40, and then we ended up having bitten off more than we could chew. We couldn't get the end-game stuff that we wanted in 0.40 because it was not done enough, and so then effectively all that stuff got put in 0.50, which then also had a longer than usual extra month of a development cycle as well. So it's actually one of the larger amounts of time between a league cycle that we've had in full development. And at the same time, the amount of different things going on in the expansion is just absolutely gigantic as well. So yeah, it's just been a colossal amount of work, just way more than we normally do in an expansion.
Yeah. So I got a question for that. Obviously, I look at a lot of the feedback online. I see all the different things that people are talking about and whatnot. How does that work out for you guys when, sometimes you might take a little bit longer with development. Sometimes an update doesn't necessarily deliver everything that you guys were looking to deliver. And, sometimes the community can get a little
spicy
over it. You know what I mean? They can kind of dread it or have some problem with it. How do you guys end up dealing with that internally? How do you guys actually communicate that with your audience?
Well, I mean, ultimately, we just have to, take that feedback seriously. And I mean, I guess the most important thing for any game developer is making sure that, it's not so much that you are listening to your audience directly, but what you're always doing is understanding the pain points that they have and making sure you're responding to them. So even in the live stream there, it's okay, we've got a lot of people saying that the campaign is too long and so on. And when I hear that, I'm okay, well, if they're, if they feel the campaign's too long, I don't want to necessarily shorten it for a first-time player, but I do understand that when you're playing it over and over again, you want to have something that's going to improve that. So, okay, what could we do that will sort of solve, ideally, that problem? So, now what if we add a bunch of wayfinding? There's tons of ways to find things that that you feel like you need to do. So to make it so that if you're a second-time player, it's going to be way faster for you without affecting that first-time play experience.
Yeah.
So it's things like that we look at and we're okay, how can we solve this problem in a potentially unexpected way? But you have to be really careful because it's very easy to get into this sort of us versus them mentality, and you have to really, really make sure you don't do that, that you do take them seriously. And so with the end game, it's we have to take a really sober look at okay, it's why are there a bunch of Steam reviews which are saying 400 hours played.
You guys are getting cooked, man.
Why is that happening, right? So then we're okay, well, we really thought really long and hard about this, why is it that Path of Exile 1 doesn't get those reviews? Why is Path of Exile 2 getting it when PoE 1 doesn't? And we're okay, what are some of the reasons why and you take a long, deep look at that, and then you realize, okay, well, maybe the problem is that, you've got a bunch of people who are, they don't necessarily know when to stop playing. That was one of the issues that we had, and we wanted to improve about about PoE 2's endgame. If people are getting off,
having people who don't know when to stop playing,
and that kind of thing. So it's just stuff like that you just have to take a long, hard look at, right? You can't mistrust your audience and say that, their problems aren't real and that kind of stuff. If you do that, you're kind of doomed.
It does seem, though, with this time around,
the fucking no life us
feedback that I've seen taken in by you guys, it looks like, at least from the outside, I have to get my hands on it first, but it looks like a lot of, if not all of the endgame problems have been tidied up to a pretty solid degree at this point. How do I want to say this? What's your favorite part about what you guys have done so far? Because you've changed a lot.
Do you mean in all of the changes we've ever made, or just
just for this specific change? What's your favorite thing?
All right. So my thing is definitely the fact that the Atlas now feels like an actual world, as it were. When you go there, there's actual landmarks around it. It isn't just an infinite span. I mean, there is an infinite span if you go further out, But you know, like when you first go there, it's like any direction you go, there's some interesting point of, you know, interesting thing there that you can find. You know, like some quest that marker that you run into something and you're like, oh shit, what's this? You know, like, and even just like small little things. There's like little camps of like people around and that kind of thing. You know, there's just like stuff like that to find. And that's something that it really was lacking. Like previously, you'd go into the end game and you were just like, okay, well, what do I do now? We definitely wanted to avoid that, right?
It's a very creative solution.
And even if you choose to ignore those and you go somewhere else, you're still
to
going
what they wanted to do.
So yeah, that's kind of the main thing I think that we really needed, and the thing that I'm probably like the most. It's weird to say I'm excited about that because it's like, you know, like once you know it's there, it's not as exciting. But like the first time you play that and it's like you go in any direction, you're like, what the heck is there? Like it's just such a fun experience.
I think that a lot of people are going to have their minds blown by the sheer amount of content that you guys are going to push out with this update. I am constantly blown away by how much you guys will add to the game in a lot of cases, and you know, for a lot of other live service games, you'll see in some, like, a new season comes out and it's just like, oh, here's a new mechanic for this season. For you guys, it seems like when you guys go to add a mechanic, well, that mechanic is going to have a ton of different systems of its own, a bunch of other content that's going to connect to it. Then later on, it's going to somehow, you know, fuse with the rest of the game and other systems in a lot of different ways and whatnot. You have different, you know, reward progressions and bosses, and in this case, which I think is probably the coolest change that you guys have made, it where there's all these different campaigns and storylines that are actually, you know, giving the player some direction, which is going to be sick for a newer player. For somebody like me that just came into PoE just before PoE 2 came out. There's not a lot of direction in these games, and this is going to add a lot of direction, and it's going to help a lot of people. You know, with the scale of design that you guys reach in some cases, I mean, again, it is absolutely absurd. But, you know, how do you guys not lose your minds when you are trying to come up with a lot of this stuff? How are you not losing the plot, I guess is probably a better way to say it, when you guys are, you know, kind of stretching out some of these mechanics in some way, or these new seasons or whatever it might be?
Well, I think the main thing is you just have to take each thing one at a time. One of the things I think is a mistake that we've made partly when we're just as a sort of development thing during this expansion, was we actually were doing too many things at the same time. And I think it's actually really important, like just as a, you know, tip for developers generally, is like focus on one thing at a time in terms of in your development as well. Because if you start concentrating on too many things, like the time between when you can like make something and then do feedback on it gets longer and longer. And that's really the most critical thing when you're working on something, is like have that feedback loop as small as possible. Like you really want to have the distance between someone made something and then, like, you know, like the game director is playing it, to be as short as possible in order to, like, you know, like, to really get that going. And now this one was honestly one of the hardest to organize, just because there were so many different concurrent streams going on with like so many different in-game systems. And like honestly, I'd do review sessions sometimes, and we would honestly just forget about, like, you know, certain things that we thought that, you know, that like no one looked at for a while. It'd be like, oh, there's this whole zone that I haven't even seen for like a month. Like that's kind of terrible. That, like, you know, it's like this is not a good situation. You know what I mean? And so that kind of stuff, I honestly think
better than too little shit.
Right? Like,
I'll tell you that much.
Those time horizons from creation to review get long. It makes game development slow. And I actually worried a little bit with this one that we were starting to get that sort of feeling of like big company slowness. And like that's something I really want to battle, because it's like one of the really important keys to our success is the ability to deliver things really quickly. And you get that by, you know, like shortening those iteration times.
Yeah, it's really interesting that you say that, because it's how many people do you guys have working for you right now?
About 260.
260.
Oh,
Sizable, but still, you know, relatively small in the grand scheme of things. But
way bigger than it used to be.
How many different moving parts that you guys have, especially with the game not being completed at this point, and like seeing that. Right. Correct me if I'm wrong. It looks like you guys touched every single end game mechanic, every single league mechanic, everything like that. Stretched them out even further. Added way more depth to them in some cases. Some insane depth when it comes to things like expeditions, which is just like a whole thing in and of itself. But like, how do you guys not feel like the scope creep, or like losing direction when it comes to that kind of stuff? Is it just that iteration stuff, or is it something else? Is it like trying to put the right people in charge of specific things so you guys just don't lose track of it all?
So I mean, it can be all of the above, but one of the things I think that does surprise people is like it actually can be convenient sometimes to not set the scope too early. And that's one of those things I think we almost made some mistakes of in the development of this particular expansion, because when you I think a scope can actually be limiting in some cases. Like if you are like, okay, I'm going to make a game, it's going to take 2 years. Here's exactly all the things that are going to be in it. it'll, like you actually might not necessarily be as ambitious as you could have been if you're just taking things 1 week at a time and we're like, hey, we're gonna make this feature this week, and then we're gonna move on to the next week, and we're gonna do this feature, if you sort of get what I'm saying. I think one of the secrets to the reasons why we're able to produce more content than a lot of other companies is partly to do with the fact that we just, we just keep developing things. It's like we'll make whatever the coolest thing is right now, and then when we've made that thing, we'll make the next cool thing. And if you keep doing that, you'll eventually have a bunch of cool things. If you sort of artificially limit the scope before you even start, you can actually find that you didn't make it. You effectively limited what you can make.
It's probably easier for you guys to be able to take things out than it is to put things in. Right.
For sure. I mean, like that is something as well, right? Like if you keep making stuff, you've got also more stuff that you can cut if you need to as well. I mean, it's funny as well because as much stuff as there is in this expansion, there's even more stuff that was cut for time, right? Like there's always stuff like that.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many uniques and how many skills and all sorts of other stuff is sitting on the cutting room floor as well.
So, with the insane scope of this game, because there is a lot to it already as it is. Obviously, you guys are getting closer and closer to completing it all, and it's going to be a behemoth by the time this game is finished. But one of the things that I've noticed as a player that came from, not really knowing all that much about Path of Exile, I played through the first game, I did a whole season and stuff like that, and then I played Path of Exile 2 then after that. But one of the things that I picked up on this game pretty quickly is that, like, one of the focuses, it seems, at least from my perspective, is that this game is supposed to be, or it feels like it's a lot more readable, a lot more intuitive, and just a hell of a lot less intimidating to get into. And I want to know, like, how you guys are approaching that balance. What are you guys doing to try to figure out how to make this game easier to grasp without stripping away a lot of the complexity and depth that players fall in love with this game for?
I think it's a funny one. So, this is one
Same
of
thing he
those
told
questions
Chris.
people do wonder, they sort of assume that if you're making a sequel, you've got a bigger audience for that necessarily means that you have to make it to simplify the game. But I don't think that's necessarily the case. Like, in a lot of ways, just the fact that Path of Exile 1 is, a game that's more than a decade old, that's had so many expansions and all this kind of stuff, just means that there's a lot of people who aren't going to try it because they feel like the ship has sailed, if you know what I mean. It's like, I can't really get into this now because there's so many mechanics and so many things going on. And I think Path of Exile 2 ultimately, just gets to be a sort of a bit of a fresh start there where people can feel like they're getting in on the ground floor. And so we're not necessarily like dumbing the game down, but like it is our intention to kind of like make things better where we can. And so things like the gem system and so on like that, like all of those things do help a lot. And things like what we're doing now with the questification of a lot of the in-game systems help with that as well. But it's not necessarily the case that we want to say we're targeting a different audience. Like, we certainly aren't. It's like we're targeting the same type of player as what we attracted 10 years ago to PoE 1. It's just that they're not going to come play PoE 1 now because, it's this like crazy behemoth. But at the same time, it's like we're sort of competing with ourselves too, right? Because like if Path of Exile 2 was like way smaller than PoE 1 was, then it would mean that all the PoE 1 players would be like, what is this crap, right? Like, it's got not nearly as much depth as what the previous game had. So we sort of have to maintain some of that as well. So it is tricky, but ultimately I think there will just be a lot of players who, would have been in our PoE 1 audience if they'd been a gamer when PoE 1 came out. Now they get to now that they are a gamer when PoE 2 is coming out, I think they're gonna really love it.
Was there any fear of that, like making the game more approachable and more readable would somehow like drive away the veteran audience, or maybe see that like this new Path of Exile is less actually Path of Exile and too casual friendly or anything like that?
Yeah, there actually is a fear of that, but I think that rather than that being driven by like I'm worried what players will think, it's more like I don't want to be making a game that I'm not in the audience for, Like, I want to be like I am a hardcore action RPG player, you know what I mean? Like, I enjoy that stuff. I wouldn't want to be making a game that I wouldn't enjoy. So ultimately I'm going to be it's not going to deviate too far away from that kind of stuff. And I do like mechanics heavy things with like really interesting cool stuff. Like I don't know if you've heard about the sort of there's a thing from Magic the Gathering with psychographic profiles of the different player types.
I literally just got back from playing Magic today.
Yeah, and I am definitely a Johnny player as far as that. Because I'm very interested in that sort of combo stuff. So that's
I'm
me.
A full
now, Mark,
aggro
on the
guy.
other hand,
I'm just trying to stomp on people.
Mark, on the other hand, is a classic spike player, right? He's just like whatever's the most powerful he's going to play, and he's just he's like clear speed, like he's absolutely just like churning through content. So it's good that we've kind of got both of those represented in that thing. But yeah, like it's effectively like we've got to make stuff that's going to appeal to us at the end of the day.
So my question is, like, with the direction that you guys have taken, making things a lot more clear, giving like very clear end game progression goals, right? With the quest lines and those having like their own resolutions and systems that kind of continue to unfold, things that you guys have like done with Expedition and stuff like that. Some of the quest lines I saw with, like, I really enjoy Breach. Breach has been one of the ones that I've picked up basically every single season. So seeing that there's actually like a Breach tree and there's all kinds of things that are connected with that. What's your guys' philosophy on giving all this like direction to the players when they reach the end game? Are you guys trying to like, I guess the difference, like when I look at a game like Path of Exile 1, there's a lot of mastery that just comes from kind of divining what your end game is going to be. This seems a little bit more led. What's your end goal with a lot of this?
Well, ultimately, I still think that a lot of
Braz died.
really complete every one of these.
Lol.
Like, I think that even in PoE 1, what a lot of players do is, sorry, I'm losing my voice a bit here.
You're good.
What in PoE 1, what I think a lot of players do is a lot of them will they'll do Atlas completion and they'll pick a couple of leagues to do. I think you'll probably end up with a similar situation in PoE 2 as well. Ultimately, the main thing is I just want to make sure that a player is going to feel like if I do the quest lines in front of me, I'm not going to be missing out on any of the major stuff, right? I'm going to get to the pinnacle bosses. I'm going to be able to do all that stuff. And there's more for after that if you're, a really hardcore player, if you really want to be able to go out into the infinite farm version and do all that sort of stuff. There's more uniques you can get and so on. But you're not going to feel like there's entire areas of the game that you're missing. So that's kind of like the key thing I think that a lot of players will find important.
So, we've kind of covered this like slightly, but I guess this is kind of just more of a broader question on the topic. But when you guys are in active development of a game, especially when it's in early access, you're getting a lot of feedback. You guys are gonna get pulled into different directions all of the time. I've seen that kind of tension destroy a ton of live service games over the past couple of years, a lot of games that have been in early access. How have you guys been able to find the balance with that internally to be able to make sure that you guys are just kind of like staying on track with this game and still being able to reach that goal of, like you said, trying to release this game by the end of the year?
Well, I mean, ultimately, it has taken a lot longer than what we expected, partly because of feedback. I guess we were probably a little bit naive in believing that we could just, stumble into early access and then somehow be able to get out of it relatively quickly. And it has
stumble into early access.
A lot of that has been because of, various player reactions to various systems and so on. And, there was an element there of just, needing more content than what we had.
Is that a Path of Exile bottle, or are those just stickers on his bottle?
There also just was a lot of, players weren't happy with how the end game was before. We need to make sure we
Hold
do
up.
something about that.
Legendary drops, what was that?
What we had, more than what various systems and so on. And
Who is that? Yeah, it's just stickers, I think.
Was an element
it's just
there of
stickers.
needing more content than what we had, more than what we expected in order to make it feel right. But there also just was a lot of players weren't happy with how the end game was before.
That looked like it's
it's meant that
Tsukimichi sticker.
Really sort of.
Or there's an anime. I forget which one.
In 6 months. Was our initial completely naive thing that we thought.
I remember that now. Yeah,
I
forgot all about that.
I remembered recently
that it'll be 2 years by the time well, hopefully, assuming that everyone is happy with the end game in 050. Then it'll be 2.
Y'all remember how after the first ExileCon they said that PoE 2 would come out into early access 6 months later or something like that, and we were hyped for it just for it to get delayed by that 6 months or something like that. Oh.
Years. But that I guess you just have to accept that, learn from it, and improve things.
I'm just not realizing. Did you guys do early access with the first game?
It wasn't called early access back then, but we did have a closed beta, as it was called at the time.
Yeah.
Of where the game was paid access, and then we came out. I don't even know if I can remember how long it was in closed beta for. It was probably something like a year. Honestly, I can't even remember this.
Not as bad as Warframe. That game still hasn't come out yet.
It still hasn't.
They still have. Technically, they never actually announced going out of beta, which is really funny.
Right.
So,
Holy.
So I kind of wanted to ask you some questions on just live service stuff, because there's been the last few years, especially since you guys have come out with your game, games industry has been moving at a like insane pace. There's been a lot of things that have been changing, whether that's, you know, increase in prices, whether that's been AI disrupting things, whether it's been a lot of different stuff. And live service has kind of turned into a hellscape over the past couple of years for a lot of these guys. I wanted to ask, from your perspective, what are most companies getting wrong about live service, at least from your perspective? Is it like the business model? Is it the expectations, the product demand? Is it the fact that these games just aren't really built enough, aren't built around a strong enough core, or what do you think it is?
I have a very strong opinion about this one, which is that I don't think that live service game companies are committing to the idea that your players need to quit each season.
Okay.
It's actually one of those things where like you cannot sustain someone playing a game forever, and even trying to do so is a terrible idea. Like, players need to come, they need to have their fill, they need to leave, but they need to be happy, and then they want to come back next season. It's just like so ultra important. And the funny thing about this is that game companies, like, so we actually did a talk about this at GDC many years ago. Chris did it, and like, I run into so many developers who are like, man, that talk was so good, it's like, you know, informed of our live service stuff that we do. But the funny thing is they don't necessarily have the actual balls to truly do what it's saying in terms of, like, you know, resetting the economy every time, and actually like making sure that people, like, you know, like, are starting from scratch from playing through, you know, like that kind of stuff is super important.
Just watching them be like,
And,
true, and they're not doing any of it.
I mean, it's not they do none of it, but you have to commit, right? Like, it's one of those things. It's like you really do. And the thing is, it is scary, because what happens is that every time we do a release, we get a big pop of players, and then the only way the players go from that point is down, right? Like, they're going down. So there isn't like a happy day where you're like, oh yeah, the players went up during that whole period. And then as you come to the next release, you're like, oh god, are the players going to come back? What if they don't come back? Like, it's scary to have that kind of strategy. And so what happens is that you'll get a bunch of these game companies who are like, oh, we have to be making events, and we have to be doing all this stuff to kind of keep players engaged, and we have to, like, you know, do all these like dark patterns to like keep them coming back every, you know, like every 24 hours they have to log in,
dark patterns,
sort of stuff, you know, like they try to do all these things to kind of keep the player numbers up. But the answer is like the only number that actually matters is that launch day. Like, that's the number that matters, and then the players will drop after that, and that's fine and expected and good. But the thing is, they have to come back. So the number you should be looking at is, what's the growth release to release? Like, you don't care what the numbers are, like, you know, like within a release. What you care about is, like, did they come back next time? And
so it's kind of like Calgur for you guys, right? Because that update for PoE 1 was massive, wasn't it?
Yeah. And that one had like a few things going on with it. Like, part of it was that it was like right before PoE 2 came out, so that one was the biggest we ever. But here's the thing, right? And something that I'm really happy about is that PoE 1's player base hasn't shrunk. That was the biggest one. But then after that point, like, all the releases have not shrunk. Like, even though PoE 2 is already out, like, if PoE 1 can just stay that size forever, I'm honestly incredibly happy with that. Like, that's a game that we can just maintain forever and keep on going. So, you know, but the thing, like, with PoE 2, right? Like,
watch the doomers say, "Oh my god, it's a maintenance mode!" like people would doom about literally anything.
Can get like that growth league to league, then, you know, like, we're golden, and I honestly don't care. You know, if you quit after 2 weeks, like, that's like absolutely fine. Just so long as you're keen on coming back next time.
You guys have kind of just like trained yourself by fire, like a trial by fire when it comes to that, because you guys have just been through that cycle so many times of just massive spikes in players, and then absolute craters for just months and months on end.
And then every single time, I'm like critically scared that the players won't come back. Like, it's no way to live. Like, I'll tell you, like, it is like one of the most depressing.
Let me try playing full watcher.
You know, the funny thing about it as well is, right? So every day when you're, you know, like, obviously I don't really look at the stuff anymore. Like, you know, I'm not looking at the day-to-day, like, daily user stats or anything like that, because, you know, as I said, it doesn't really matter. But every time it's still scary, you know, like going into that next release, will the players come back? Will they enjoy it? Because the thing is, as well, with a situation like that, is you're incredibly.
I feel like I did more damage in playing 4 watcher than I do in playing 3 watcher. What the fuck?
And I think that that's partly, like, it does inform our development, right? Because when we're developing features, we're like, we have to make things that players are gonna love when they hear about them, like in the live stream. Like, the live stream is critically important to get right, so that people see that and they actually feel impressed, and it drives us to make the releases big and sound cool.
Maybe not.
Like, I've got tons of content in it, you know, because, like, if we can't impress someone when they see that live stream, then they're not going to come back and play that next season. So I think that's like partly why we have such like a content heavy like thing going on compared to a lot of game companies, because we're thinking so much about that.
You know, this is just a complete.
All right, playing 5 watcher.
To be like kind of just interjected into this conversation, because I still want to continue to talk about some of this live service stuff, but lightning bolt struck me in the moment. But you're talking about like how Path of Exile 1 is a game that you guys could just continue to support forever if you guys wanted to, right? There's been a big movement that's been going on in the past couple of years with video games. Have you guys heard of Stop Killing Games?
I have.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on all of that? Especially like, I mean, you're in live service, so I'm not going to say that you're necessarily like immune to it in some cases, but like, how do you guys feel about, or how do you personally feel about like video game permanence, and especially in a day and age where like everything is digital, everything feels temporary, everything feels like it's just a subscription anymore, nothing is really based around ownership. How do you feel about that whole movement that's going on right now?
I mean, I'm personally absolutely fine with the idea of people being able to like reverse engineer games, create like private servers and that kind of stuff if they want to do that once the game's no longer in support. Like that kind of thing's fine by me.
Yeah.
So anything that's going to make sure that isn't outlawed, that people are allowed to make like their own servers for something that is that it's not being maintained anymore.
My first plane 6 watcher. Let's go.
It's one of those things that. Like when I was younger, I was kind of interested into like reverse engineering game protocols and things like that. That was something I was pretty interested in. So, I've had my fair share of doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've definitely played a lot of. I've played a lot of Diablo 2 that necessarily wasn't a Diablo 2 that I had. A lot of like private servers and stuff like that, right?
Right.
So yeah, a lot of those early days of PC gaming, at least depending on what area you were playing in. But so
yeah, no,
that's good. That's exactly that's what I thought you were probably going to end up saying. It's usually the take that I think most people should probably have on it. So going back to the live service stuff, do you guys think, and this almost goes along with that conversation, do you think that there's like with live service games, do you think there is a different moral obligation between the player and a traditional boxed game? Like with a lot of these box games, you go and buy a $70 game, $60 game, $50 game, whatever it is. You buy it, you play it, that relationship is basically finished at that point, right? But with a live game, the players are giving you a hell of a lot more time, a lot more attention, routine, and things like that. Does that change the way that you guys think about your responsibility to the players?
Well, okay, so one critically important thing is that I would never want something that someone bought to be no longer available, right? Like, that's really important. Like, just as a starting point, if you're going to be a live service game, you just have to make sure that stuff's available, right?
Because you guys do
just
have
like,
microtransactions, so it's not like people aren't buying anything.
That's the commitment that you've made. But I mean, I guess for the individual releases in terms of content, I still like, because I'm such in a kind of like seasonal mindset of like, this is like, it's almost like every season is its own game we're releasing. And like, that's kind of like the way we would look at it. So it's really about like making sure that we're delivering on the next one of those and the next one of those. And all of the rest of the content in the game is obviously super important.
All right, plane 6 watcher down.
Make sure we're maintaining and doing that sort of stuff. But ultimately, it's like the backdrop for what the new season is and like what's the interesting stuff that we're pushing next. Because as I said, like since
oh god, you need to go again.
It really is almost more like releasing a new game every time, right? Like that's almost what you're doing every time that you go into each new season. And I think viewing it that way is actually positive in some ways because it gives you that kind of like that cycle. Like we're effectively, you could argue like that we're a game developer who's released 2 games, or you could argue we're a game developer that's released 50 games if you count each league as one of them.
Yeah.
And I kind of like when we're
that.
developing, that's sort of how we look at it in terms of going through the whole phase of everything. And yeah, as I said, I think it's a more positive way to look at it.
So would you actually say that would you say that trust is actually the currency for live service games more than anything else then?
Well, 100%, because I mean, ultimately, and this is another thing, by the way, that we've noticed is that one of the big determinants for how popular a release is what the previous release was. Like you can actually have a situation where you can have an amazing release, but it didn't do that well by itself. But then what that causes the next release to have much higher numbers because they built the trust from the previous one. So it's sort of interesting how that is, like effectively you earn that by by doing good stuff that the players enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, this is just talking from personal experience for me, right? Like I try to separate myself as like somebody that's like I guess a part of the games industry, at least from like a mouthpiece standpoint in a lot of cases, but like also just being a player. Like I genuinely and pretty much across the board have a lot of trust for you guys, mostly just because of like how consistent you guys have been. It's usually not only just from like release to release, you guys will have a season that comes out, something goes wrong with it, you guys even in the future, like say one of the things that I've noticed with a lot of live service games is if they have a bad season, they just move on from it. They don't go back and try to fix that mechanic. They don't try to do anything with it. They just throw it away and just say that it's done. In some cases, you guys will just straight up recognize saying that you guys can tell the difference between whether it's something that was bad or something that you guys just didn't execute on the right way. And then you'll bring it back and you'll fix it or whatever it is. You don't really like just let things go and just move on from it. But, part of that is also for me, and on a second side of it is like how consistent you guys have been with like monetization, right? Like usually a lot of publishers would see it as a
I
massive.
thought playing
opportunity
6
to
Watcher
come
could
out with
drop a
second
new
game
item.
like,
I don't see it
completely
here.
wash their audience for a second time, make them buy the same stuff over again, all this kind of stuff. Also, maybe even create new revenue, streams of revenue in the game by selling things that you don't sell in the other game or whatever it might be, increasing your prices. Who knows? But you guys effectively did none of that. You guys took all the currency or took all of the different things that players have bought from the other game, transferred it to the other one. I know you guys are still working on some of that stuff.
Yeah,
but
we've still got some stuff that's still.
is that consistency in? Is that consistency in philosophy?
I need to get what that. So once they're done with this question, I'm gonna pause.
You guys are trying to. How do I want to say this? How are you guys communicating that with the next audience? Because I think a lot of us older players can see it, but not everybody can.
I mean, ultimately, I think that's one of those things that if you're trying to crow about how good it is, I don't think that's actually the right way. Like, ultimately, you just have to communicate that by being consistent about it. People pick up on it, and like you just build a trust in the audience, and then that trust passes from player to player as they sort of say, hey, these guys, they do microtransactions right, that kind of stuff. Like, if people are saying that, then that's what's going to build that trust. So yeah,
I do be saying that.
We've had a few missteps in the past, right? I remember there was one time when we released this this like salvage box thing, and everyone reacted really negatively, and we put it up for sale, and then we took it down off sale like an hour later.
Yeah.
Like a couple
Salvage
of
box.
that we've done in the past. That was a long time ago, but
Never heard of this.
You got to make sure that you
What could he have
do
been?
a misstep like that. That you just make sure that you don't let it slide, right? Like we screwed that up. We're going to change it. We're going to make sure we're going to do it right. And as long as people see that you do that,
Like mystery box, or is that different?
That you do things right. If people see if people feel like you're honest about it and that you're actually doing right by them, then they'll trust you.
So, kind of a follow-up question with this. So, like, just talking about I guess the business model when it comes to live service games, like, it's kind of a hard thing for me not to just come out and say, but like, we've had a lot of live service games that have come out and just failed immediately.
All right, getting water, BRB. Okay. I am back. Where were we? Yeah, we duplicate and stuff with the first iteration of mystery box. Also, the first iteration of mystery box were just awful. That makes sense. Yeah, duplicates just feel ass. I mean, even without duplicates, I still don't be putting on mystery boxes because Magi. But I think one thing I really love about their mystery boxes is that they come out the season after. So, like, for example, in this season's mystery box, there's something I really want, which is the scroll that tracks how much currency you get from currency exchange. I really want that to pair with the ring, but I will not be pulling mystery box for it. That's so fucking sure. So we'll be here next season when it comes out to the shop. We got evil heart armor. Let me make sure drop filter is up to date. Maybe Mark has it updated. Maybe he has quit. I don't know. Where to know I've got an update in a while.
Or like the last couple of years have just been an absolute bloodbath. It has been insane. We've seen, I think, in the last 2 years or 3 years, we've seen live service games that had actually failed within a week of their launch or within 2 weeks of their launch. Which, like, not beating around the bush. We had like High Guard and we had Concord before that. Do you think a lot of these publishers are do you think a lot of these publishers are misunderstanding because they're looking at the business model first instead of the game?
It's been done, I'm pretty sure.
I was actually having to think about this one because I think High Guard is interesting because they had correct me if I'm wrong. But
okay, you mean Mac, right?
Right, they had high numbers and then it dropped off really fast.
They ripped about over 100,000 or a little bit over
yeah.
100,000 people basically right at the beginning, and then everybody just fell off pretty much immediately afterwards.
So that is an example of something that I feel like if they had stuck with that one, they might have been able to get someone. Like clearly it struck some kind of note because like, you know, they got that many people trying it on release. I mean, there's tons of live service games that get like, you know, basically nobody. And like, sure, probably a game like that. If you're launching into like 1,000 people, and yeah, like obviously like that's not something that's going to ever go anywhere. But if you're launching into 100K people, that is honestly something that I mean, it may have been bad, but I feel like if they'd have given that a shot, and been consistent and kept on doing it and like tried for like, you know, a while, they might have been able to get somewhere with that. And it feels crazy to me that they would give up so quickly. But I guess what I suspect that what's happening there is that if you're going to release a live service game, I don't think that your plan can be that we release when we run out of money. Because if you do that, then it means that you're not going to be able to you're not going to be able to effectively sustain that, right? It does take a while for a live service game to really get rolling and be good. Like you have to make sure that you've got like money in the coffers to be able to make that commitment, you know, for a while to kind of keep on, you know, doing it and finding the formula and that kind of thing.
That actually makes a lot of sense now that you say that, because this is not me necessarily passing judgment on the people that made these games, but a lot of these people are coming from AAA. So like either they are former developers of, or whatever it might be, they've worked on AAA live service games or AAA single player games, and these guys are then going and starting their own studio to make a live service game. They're probably running off of the exact same schedule and the same style of budgeting that they did in AAA, which is basically run it to the red and then release the game.
Yeah.
So they're getting it. It's a do or die situation. They're launching the game out there and they're like, man, I hope this thing makes money. And then it doesn't. And they're like, well, I guess that's it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you just have to keep going.
Yeah. I mean, you guys have the added benefit of the fact that like this is why like I am such a proponent for live service games. Or sorry, not live service games. My audience would kill me if I said that. I am such a proponent for early access games because at least you get to get like the feedback early. You get to test the actual like the interest early. You get some funding up front. You know, have something to be able to work with, some gas already in the tank before you have to start moving forward. You know, how has that worked out? I guess, how does that work out for you guys with Path of Exile 2? Because you guys not only have early access support, but you guys
I don't remember if I've done Sandlord in this map.
Service support behind that is Path of Exile 1 fueling Path of Exile 2, or are these two separate things, or how is that working out for you guys?
Well, certainly before we released PoE 2 into early access, that was the case. But now that when Path of Exile 2 went into early access, like honestly, like it did really, really well. And so, you know, PoE 2 has been completely self-sufficient in that, in terms of just money, since that point. And I mean, obviously, you know, like Path of Exile 1, of course, like, you know, like because it was successful, the Path of Exile 2 early access like was going to get a huge amount of people to try it. You know, like absolutely. So in some ways, we kind of like company that was just like making their first title. Like we've just got that inherent advantage that you know, is like I guess it's not exactly that it's unfair, but you know, it just is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So you know, like we were able to get that, and that effectively means that Path of Exile 2 just got a lot of time to be able to iterate, right? Like we got because we had that you know, early access come out and did really well. You know, it just meant that there's a big budget there that we can make sure that to get the game right. But yeah, if you're just coming out as a fresh studio, like making a new live service game, yeah, I feel like you just have to have a plan for how to survive, even if the early access doesn't necessarily like take off in the way that you want. Like as I said, if you can get like a lot of players, at least if you can get a lot of players for a week, I feel like you do have something that if you iterated on it, you would be able to turn that into something. And you sort of see some things where people just kept on going despite the initial thing. So another great example of this is I think it's No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
Where when that game released, it got absolutely slaughtered by people. Like it had a lot of players. But people were just like people were not happy about it. And then over time, that game is like they just kept going. They kept on updating it. They kept on doing what needed to be done. And like now it's got a really good reputation.
Yeah, it's one of like they just keep like.
You know, I have zero idea what No Man's Sky is about. Like actually zero.
Let us pay you for an expansion.
I've just heard the name.
That's that's an example of a game that that did that really well. And as I said, you can tell that something's got something just the moment that it gets a lot of players, even if they then like get turned away by something. And I feel like as soon as you've got that, you actually have something you can work with.
Yeah. No, I agree. So this is kind of just like wrapping things up here a little bit. Looking at like you guys are starting to get down the road with Path of
Oh shit! We actually
you guys are going to be getting.
It's a 30-minute interview.
You guys will continue to support it. You guys will have Path of Exile 1, which you guys have said, and you have continued to, even during Path of Exile 2's very deep and expansive development that you guys have had. But after these games and with these games in active development, are you guys planning on growing past this at all? Are you guys continue? Do you guys? I guess my question is, I've always been kind of curious to see, because you guys have always basically just done Path of Exile and Path of Exile 2.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever see yourself growing outside of Path of Exile?
Give me a quick second.
Certainly.
All right, I am back. Where were we?
Not for a good long while.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't
no,
think,
I
I
not
don't think I've
not
been immediately for a
immediately.
while yet.
not immediately, but
Yeah.
it's a genuine curiosity whether you guys could see yourselves growing past Path of Exile towards something else, or maybe even another genre, maybe even a, I don't know, not live service game, a single player game or something like that down the road.
Maybe, but it's just like it's so far in the future that I kind of, I'm actually the kind of person who doesn't tend to make really long-term plans like that. Like I always look to, like, what the next thing we're doing. So yeah, it's kind of honestly not something that I could start to think about for a while. And I think you'd have to get to the point of stability where we felt like, okay, we know, we can make PoE 2 releases that we don't feel stressed about. We can make PoE 1 releases as well at the same time we don't feel stressed about. If we got to that point and then it's like, okay, like I'm starting to get to the point where it's like I feel really comfortable, then I could be like, okay, maybe we can start another.
Let's get uncomfortable again.
But until that point, I just don't think that we've got the mental bandwidth to be able to do it.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah. No, I'll give that to you. All right. Yeah. Obviously, you guys have a lot that's going on right now. It's just always with a lot of these guys, with a lot of you guys that just run a live service game. I've always been curious. There's been some people that have kind of like bucked the trend, and I think a really good example of this that I've seen, and I think it's been really cool, is that a lot of these Eastern companies that have been like historically making gacha games for ever, all of a sudden are just like, here's our AAA single player game for $70, and you're like,
Crimson Desert.
These games actually came out to be like relatively solid or pretty damn good games in some cases. I saw like Shift Up made Stellar Blade, and then you had the other company that made Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. There's been another one that is doing something similar. It's just been a really interesting trend to see some of these companies that have kind of taken a gamble on doing something like entirely different out of nowhere.
Give me a second.
Let's see here. Is there anything else that I wanted to ask you? I think we kind of covered this already. No, that's pretty much it, man.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's been great talking to you.
Yeah, you too, brother.
Yeah.
Pretty good interview. Very short. kind of very surprised by it. I was kind of expecting it to be a bit longer, but I'm not complaining. We also have Destin's interview, which is also 37 minutes. Oh, so we just have shorter interviews now. All right. I mean, in that case, do we just try to get through Destin as well?
Who's your favorite boss?
What other interviews are there? I think this is the last one I'm really aware of. So we have two options here. I think Destin is like the last one. So we can either start it today or we can start it tomorrow. If we start it tomorrow, then the rest of stream is going to be SS21 attempts. Because like I said, it's going to be a shorter stream simply because of how late I started it. Gonna need that AI sum. 37-minute interviews are kind of they're shorter than I typically would have expected, but I'm not complaining. What am I leaning towards? It. Now, I actually enjoy watching the interviews. Like, it's very, very interesting, and AI summary would 100% just not do it justice, or at least to the nuances that are being explained. All right, real quick before we continue, let's do some liquidating so that we can try. We have 8K net worth, which means realistically, after all things considered, we'll probably end up being at like 3K FE, maybe 4K, depending on how much I'm willing to actually liquidate. So let's do some liquidating, shall we? Collection doll, collection doll. Holy shit! What is this price? 249? Okay. I mean, purples are purples are almost 100. They were 80 this afternoon. 80. Now they're almost 100? Okay. Compass deep space probes are 120. Do you realize that if this is like 250, this is 125? Just in both of those alone, you're looking at 370 for your cost. Then you have deep space map that's like an extra 40 on top of that. Now you're looking at 400. Then you take on the purple clockwork or purple compass and blue compass or golden, whichever. Golden is like another 8 FE or 7 FE at this point. I don't even know how much it is. And so legit, if you want to do golden clockwork in deep space, you're spending like an extra, you spend like 500 a map, like 450, 500 a map, which is just jaw dropping. But I will say this, with the prices of other compasses right now, you are probably still making gigabank with those costs. But like those are maps where you know you can't afford to die. Death is not an option. But Jesus, that is something. That is most definitely something. Let's hide Sandlord Compass, because I will be using it a lot. What else is hidden? Let me just make sure there's nothing. Record creation can get unhidden. All right. Alert outlaw. Bro. War compass behind that. Fated Arcana. Tomorrow's direction. Do I want to just... Sure.
Traveler, please bring back the glories that exist in our memories of the past. Clear away the haze to reveal the truth of the era of the sixth.
Ooh, we got an 8 on that important moon. We got an 8. All right, where are we? Where were we? Dazzlings. Oh, I saw the wrong memory thread. I'm supposed to sell this one. Make some money back. Containment. Containment. Flourishing Profound. Honestly, should use Flourishing. There's no reason why I'm not using this probe on my maps. There's actually no reason. I'm going to add it to my strat, I feel. Though I don't, we'll see. But I feel like it's worth adding. Bright Luna Stone. Sinful Plunder. Sprouts. Proof of the Brave. I need to do some part of the Brave, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I don't need to have these guys because I'll just work my way up anyways. Ecliptics we hide. We need our Ecliptics. Bounty Outlaw. Strength in numbers. Hundredfold Windfall we keep until we can turn in. Ultimate Embers we sell because we no longer need them. Generous Elite. Unrivaled Veteran. I'm gonna try to sell until I get to the point where things cost less than 50 FE. on the tracker, in which case at that point I will try to sum up my money and go for the next upgrade, which is currently we have two choices. We either go for, honestly, get out of there. I don't want to sell you. Memory scraps, I don't want to sell you either. Glacial Abyss. You're worth much? Onslaught Might. General Hunting. Giant Civet. How the mighty fall. Being worth the 7 right now is kind of crazy. Gear Profound. Renown Edge. Colorful Fluorescent. Bounty Ember. I have 5k energy cores. The Lord knows I ain't gonna use them. Divinity fragments are also adding up here. What the fuck? Yeah, this much money? You get 129 for them? Sure. Say less. If he actually sells, that is. All right, we are kind of just well into the, what's it called? We are well into the 40s now, so we are going to probably stop selling some stuff soon. And then focus on just going back to farm. Fluorescent Profound Probe. There we go. If one more thing sells, I'm gonna sell this one and just claim everything and go from there. Bro, can something sell? Why does nothing want to sell? I've already set the price of this. I kind of don't want to close the window. It's I think should be selling soon. It's kind of just, there we go. Yeah, we have 3k. Nice. With 3k FEs, we can probably get to like 4k. We have a few options, but realistically, the only thing that I can actually afford right now, because I'm not going to be saving up, is I'm not going for my Destiny yet. Eventually, I want to go for Undetermined Fate, but like that's... Yo, they crashed in price? Woo! Okay, we're going for some. Not yet. That's in the future, but like, I love that they crash in price. G fucking G. Please tell me Star shows up have also crashed. Please tell me they have crashed. Yeah, coming down a bit, just a bit. Not just so expensive, but like not quite as high. Because I saw these guys at 8-9K. So like, it's really nice. But undetermined fates are a lot cheaper now. I say a lot, but like, if I were to search for the unID'd ones, it's still like probably like 7K, 6K. It's probably like 7K. But compared to 9K, it's still a big difference. Like you can see some 8K already. 8K. Keep in mind, as of when at last I checked, there was nothing below this price. There's nothing here that's 8,500, so we're still looking at like 8,800, I guess, for unidentified. All right, that's all besides the point. For now, we're going to be spending blood money here and trying to get some, what's it called? Mods for our gear. 20, 40. Let's hope 40 is enough. Please be enough, please.
I'm a hacker by trade, black market fixer by necessity. Wanna rob Tower Co? You've come to the right gal.
These are the three I wouldn't mind getting. I don't really want Timbit, if I'm being honest. I don't really want it, and I don't want Radical Order either. But like, let's see. Growth is fine. Growth is fine. GG. Let's try again. What do we have here? God damn it, man. Can you imagine it giving me infiltration? We have 2 more attempts. I hate that we have zero idea what we're gonna get next, and we actually cannot plan. She has given me infiltration twice. I am not interested in infiltration, my guy. Sorry, I'm not. Bruh. I hate R&D so fucking much. It is such an ass system. Like, it just feels terrible. You have no planning beyond what you currently see. I can buy 20 more. But like, you have no planning beyond what you currently see, and you're just kind of at the whims of RNG. 14, 17, 19, 20. Like, if we could see the next one, then sure, you know, that there's planning to be had. Oh, am I going to keep this, you know, or whatever else? But nope. Not to mention something like server damage is just going to be very ass to do. So 4 for 2 of those. Green for 2 of these. If I had to say, I'm willing to go for these 2 above all else. Please. Okay. Okay. Okay, buddy. Oh, fucking K. Don't you just love deleting currency? It was amazing. You should try it. It is actually so just, it's terrible. And then you'd wonder, not only do they try to just gimp you on RNG, they intentionally just say, okay, let's just make it so you only see 2 choices when you're going for these mods. 2 fucking choices? And we have 0 idea what the next choices will be. So we can't even plan ahead. So anyone that's relying on something that requires triple the what's it called? If you're relying on something that requires triple of the same rune, just go buy it. It's just not happening. Unless you get giga lucky, it's not happening. That is so fucking dumb. So freaking dumb. It's ridiculous. Like, what do you actually mean? Anyways, we're going to do some SS21 to end stream and then wrap it up from there. All right, let's get into peak gamer position. I think he's yeah, he's aggroed on me. Oh god, no. I knew that would happen the moment I ate 2 golden orbs and he hadn't done that thing yet. He's targeted, he's aggroed on me. Good. Oh, okay, that was on me. I didn't see them.
My blood. Forge the blade anew.
Good, it's bugged. Well, it's aggroed on my minions, I should say. He's minion taunted, if you will. Not a bug. Definitely an intended interaction.
With your blood, I shall reforge my edge.
The wind has stopped.
How that kills me sometimes and other times I don't get. That should not have been enough to kill me unless the yellow buff gives me increased damage taken. Fuckers start aggroed on me.
With your blood, I shall reforge my edge.
What comes
Bro.
goes.
I hate that there's a minimum distance for blink. I dislike that.
These surging red waves shall be the last thing.
Dude, can you bug, please? Can't afford to get a single extra orb now, or I die guaranteed.
The wind has stopped.
These surging red waves shall be the last thing you see.
Ugh! Can't afford to take any more. Like how little damage that sword did.
What comes
These surging red waves shall be the last.
Thank you.
With your blood, I shall reforge
I hate this guy. I hate him so much. Because I need to get to 30T. And then once I'm at 30T, I need to then... I think he's targeting me already, so I can't take...
With your blood, I shall reforge my edge.
I'm back to
Bro. That one's completely on my clicking. But god damn it, man.
These surging red waves shall be the last thing you see.
Oh, nice.
With your blood, I shall reforge my edge.
Mm.
the wind has stopped.
I'm pretty sure my skill had the time to proc there, but what do I know?
These surging red waves shall be the last thing you see.
These are the only 3 survivors I have.
With your blood, I shall reforge my edge.
What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that damage?
Millions of souls are wailing in the pool of blood. With your blood, I shall reforge my edge.
It's not like I want to scream. I just want to talk very loudly. All right, let's do this.
My blood, forge the blade anew.
I'm not sure I can do this with him fully focused on me. The worst part about that mechanic is that you simply just can't even place it. Like in the ideal universe, it's a placement mechanic that you're meant to place at good spots on the map and not just anywhere.
Listen, millions of souls are wailing in the pool of blood.
But you just can't do that.
With your blood, I shall reforge my edge.
What comes?
Take this! Which sunken corpse has surfaced this time?
Yeah, if you're not going to target my Magi, I'm just not even interested. Run it back. Run it back.
My blood, forge the blade anew.
Try again.
Which sunken corpse has surfaced
There.
this time? Take this!
What the fuck is that speed increase? Is there a universe I'm getting ping gapped? Like, I wonder if my 100 ms is too slow, which is why it is a pain to dodge. It could be why it's a pain to do the red circle mechanic, because by the time I see it, it has already moved. Bro. If that isn't BS, I don't know what is.
These surging red waves shall be the last thing you see.
He's targeting me, which is kind of annoying. But it is what it is. So if this, like, a defensive skill is not enough, oh god, I'm dead, aren't I? Like, yeah, I just die. You know what I mean? Like, is it possible that it's because of the ping and the speed at which the swords move that I actually take damage before it visibly shows up on my screen? Maybe. Who knows? And if I want to realistically tank that, I have a few options. The biggest one would be a big swap to Sentinel tree. I forget where Sentinel is. God of War, probably. Sentinel tree for less dots taken for every block ratio and then giga scale block. Well, that is one thing. Or maybe just block ratio to begin with, because these are hits. Right, and then use the tree to scale to giga scale spell block. Could be one thing, something I do, but that is a big DPS loss overall. And I don't have enough DPS to justify that.
With your blood, I shall reforge my edge.
It just feels like I have to use this chest so that I would be at 17k ES. Genuinely what it feels like. But I don't know how I damage cap with this chest. Especially if I go for a defensive. I could probably 1-star if I really wanted to. Or maybe 2. Like, if I went to defensive now, I would have enough damage to probably kill him. And enough time to just not fall over.
With your blood, I shall reforge my edge.
Jesus. You know what, for now, we're going to switch to this.
Listen! Millions of souls are wailing in the pool of blood.
Yeah, I'm just not doing enough damage anymore.
Millions of souls are wailing in the pool of blood. Take this!
I am not doing enough, nearly enough damage. So let's start. We'll have to figure out an in between.
Listen! Millions of souls are wailing in the pool of blood.
Okay, buddy. I like that I live there. But the fact that I have to be this tanky and I have to be trying to get to potentially damage cap with this amount of tank is kind of rough. Because my chest is a lot of damage. Dropping the chest is a stupid amount of damage. I barely live there, which means if I didn't have my defensive skill, I just die.
With your blood, I shall reforge my edge.
Yeah, we aren't halfway done with this fight. We need to bring on the We need to bring on the damage. It's just not happening. Not at this rate, at least. We got it. Ooh. All right, with all the defensive things we took, it's just not happening. We can't drop that much damage because I feel like at this point we'd be sub 10, we're like sub 10t DPS, which is, I mean, it's quite a bit of tank to have, but not a lot of damage. Like he's just getting to half. Okay. All right, time. You can go now. This is the first time I'm running out of time, so I haven't actually seen that animation before. All right, give me a quick second. I'll be right back.
You know, the void is not truly empty. You can meet your friends there on occasion, but they shatter on contact. We do not understand why a rapidly fading life should dream every day. I've had all those dreams. vanish at dawn, return once more at nightfall.
All right, we'll try this again, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
My blood, forge the blade anew.
You know, I was even trying to bug it, but we'll take it. I cannot go that hard on defenses, I think.
With your blood, I shall reforge my edge.
Dude. Kind of us.
These surging red waves shall be the last thing you see.
I'm dead. I picked up 2 of these orbs. That's all it takes. Dead. The fact that I live there is kind of wild.
Listen! Millions of souls are wailing in the pool of blood. With your blood,
Oh, you finally decided to phase. It's like one thing I could really do if I really wanted to, just if I was very desperate, is I could okay, that's it for today. Well, I'm not trying again. It is what it is, though. It just means I need so much more tank that I don't know how feasible it is that I get whilst keeping my damage intact. Like, I'm going to have to do some big reworks if I'm going to want to have enough time for that fight. And honestly, the biggest thing I am seeing that I might end up needing is like, I might need a, what do you call this? I might end up needing a prairie and swapping my slates to a pedigree. And I'm not looking forward to needing one because, I mean, I would lose a lot of levels by doing that, which is unideal, but like it's kind of fine. Kinda being the keyword here. But then I would be dropping all the offensive stats I have copied, like, you know, how many levels is this giving me? 2, 4, 10. I'm getting 10 levels currently from my Space Rift, which is more than 80% more damage. It's greater than that. And then we have, and we don't need Ultimate Mage's cooldown recovery speed, so I should swap that to like something else. If I'm being honest, I don't know why I still have it. I kind of forgot. But like crit damage or something else could go there. Maybe I even go for 5 legendaries potentially. Maybe that should be something I invest into, so I can get +3 and then 8% additional with some converts. Maybe something we can consider at least. Because I mean, Spirit Mage's CDR is just not doing anything for me. Like it's not. But anyways, guys, I'll be back tomorrow with, I don't even know what next. I'm still going to be going for SS21. We have Destin's interview to finish, so that we're going to be finishing that. What else? I don't remember if there's anything else that is pressing. We'll see if anything shows up between now and tomorrow that I feel like I want to cover, and we'll keep going for SS21. Hopefully we can actually beat it at some point this century. But like, that fight is obnoxious for the amount of defense it requires. Like, genuinely, I'm just like, I'm stunned by just how much defense it's asking of me. It's asking for pretty big changes to my setup, which is not great. But we'll see how it goes, I guess. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. I will be back tomorrow. Till then, have a good night.